Welcome back. This is Teresa Adams with the Community College of Denver. And what we're going to do today is get ourselves prepared to be able to prove trig identities. So we're going to start out with writing some of our trig identities in terms of sine and cosine and get them to reduce to something other than tangent, cosecant, and cotangent, and secant. So let's take a look at our first one. We're going to take our tangent of theta and the cosecant of theta and turn them in terms of sine and cosine. So we know the tangent is the sine of theta over the cosine of theta. We know the cosecant is 1 over the sine of theta. And then we can see our sines will cancel, and I'm going to be left with 1 over the cosine of theta. And that's okay to leave it there unless it wants us to write it in just secant, because we know the cosine, 1 over the cosine, is the secant of theta. Now I'm going to let you guys do B. And hopefully you guys have got sine, 1 over the sine of alpha, or the cosecant of alpha. Now the next step is to look at what happens when we multiply by conjugates. So as we take a look at A, we've got the cosine of theta over 1 minus the sine theta. If we multiply the conjugate of the denominator, which would be 1 plus the sine theta, I'm going to turn this into a great big multiplication sign, then when we multiply the top, I'm not going to actually do the cosine theta yet, and then 1 plus the sine theta. But when I multiply the denominator, because of the fact that these two are conjugates, we have 1 minus and we have 1 plus, that this does become the difference of squares. And so it's going to be 1 minus the sine squared theta. And we know that 1 minus the sine squared theta is just a Pythagorean identity, just kind of changed a little bit. So we know the denominator is going to be cosine squared. So we have the cosine of theta, 1 plus the sine of theta, over the cosine squared theta. Then this cosine here will cancel with one of these, and so I'm going to be left with 1 over the cosine theta plus the sine theta. And I can break this apart into two separate fractions. I'll have 1 over the cosine theta, which we know 1 over the cosine of theta is the secant of theta. And then I'm going to have sine theta over cosine theta, and we know that's the tangent of theta. Now I'm going to let you guys do B. And hopefully what you guys have is the cosecant of beta minus the cotangent of beta.